I was on the track this last week with my run group here in Boulder, and we were watching some of the athletes, not only in my group, but there was also a group that was on the track sharing the track with us. And I said, take a look at this guy, Steven. And I said, I want you to look at his shoulders, and particularly what I was emphasizing was that there was no movement in his shoulders, so he was running very, very stiffly like this, and his arms were going back and forth in the sagittal plane. So when he's holding his shoulders real rigid, what happened is that he ends up turning his arms in like this, so he's internally rotated. He has a tendency to throw his head back just a little bit, so his pectoralis muscles are real tight. He ends up getting bunched, and by not rotating your shoulders, the biggest limiter is that it limits the hip extension that you can get. If I allow my shoulders to rotate, and if you look from the side here, the rotation should be side to side. So as I move in my running, I have this natural rotation, natural swing with my arms. But I don't want to be a robot and be transfixed in this plane here. I want to allow a little bit of transverse movement, and I want a little bit of frontal movement as well, not just on the sagittal plane where I'm marching. So how do we correct this? I have people go to a set point. So the set point in the back is about 9 degrees. You see sprinters here. Distance runners about 45 degrees off my shoulders. The front part, I have their hands go on the line where if my thumb was going to continue, it would go right in my nostril. So I'm crossing this bony process, this xiphoid process. This allows me to have a little bit more rotation from side to side. Exaggerated? Absolutely. But start by doing this. Have a little bit more movement, have a little bit more arm action. You'll find that as you're doing this, all of a sudden your shoulders start to move. Lastly, your navel is an eyeball. That navel is looking straight ahead. So if you don't have this movement, in another video I'm going to talk about thoracic spine mobility, because part of it comes from the rib cage all the way up here to my shoulders and not from my hips. I don't want to be sloshing from side to side, and that's where we can get in trouble. So practice these little skills. I think you'll find they'll be helpful on your running where we have a little bit of movement, and you'll allow yourself a little more hip extension on the back end of your stride.